Simo, Into the Emerald Dream came out, and part of this, I'm going to give you a
What is this, Wizard of Oz?
You know, that's actually very... No, I never made the relation until you said that. Basically, the way it is, every class is Druid. That's what they.
Oh, good. I'm excited. Oh, you got me hooked now. I'm in.
So basically, to give you some, I'm going to explain this poorly, and people will be upset with me. The Emerald Dream is like a mystical dreamland, and half the classes are protecting it and half the classes are super against it. I showed CGB the classes that are against it. They have things like wild gods. You're not going to see those. You're going to see the imbue package. We got to back up 2015 Hearthstone. You remember the grand tournament? I've showed you a couple cards to them. The entire mechanic.
It sounds familiar.
The mechanic from that set was called Inspire. Do you remember what Inspire is?
Isn't that like when you use your hero power, like something happens?
Yes.
Is that right?
Exactly what it is. Yes. So this time they're doing.
Do I get a point for that?
Sure, we'll put 1 point on the board. I don't know what the point system is. I don't know if I actually keep track, but yeah, sure. So the point of imbuing, which is the expansion mechanic for half these classes, is that using your hero power for a tempo value. You'll see the rest of this. Your job today is to tell me which one of these imbue package you think is the best, and I will tell you which one is the best based on how the meta is currently evolving. We just had a balance patch as well. I will tell you preemptively just to make this a little bit more engaging for you. Most of the imbue stuff was not playable, and that is because the StarCraft set, if you remember that, was disgustingly broken, and it was still very, very good. They had to do a huge reduction in power level of a lot of the cards, so now the imbues can finally shine. Surely copium, and you're going to figure out which one's the best one. In order to begin this though, I have to show you the neutral cards available for the imbue cards. Okay. And I will show you what the imbues are for each classes, but pretty much we'll start off with this.
Bitter Bloom Knight, 2 mana, 2/3, Battlecry, imbue your hero power. Okay. Pretty straightforward.
Basically what it is you start the game. You have your stupid normal hero power. It's garbage. 2025 Hearthstone, you're never using your hero power. What the fuck? What this does is once you imbue your hero power once, it replaces your hero power with a different one, class specific hero power.
So it's like a upgraded one, or is it completely different?
It is completely different.
Oh, okay.
And I will show you what the individual ones are when we get to the actual classes themselves.
Gotcha.
I'm just showing you what the pool is for every single class, kind of like the StarCraft one.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So there's the basic guy that just abused the hero power. There's a 4 mana 4/4 Flutterwing Guardian that has Taunt, Divine Shield, and Battlecry imbues your hero power. And then there is the Resplendent Dreamweaver. I think they need to make the text a little bit smaller. They're running out of room.
Okay,
4 mana 4/4.
I will say this for just to defend Blizzard. Well, actually, this is not defense. Fuck Blizzard. They're a bunch of donkeys. If they do nerfs or buffs, they don't update their website. So I have to like take this from the fucking like article they did to make sure that I can show you what the buff version is, because on the website it's still like the unbuffed one.
That's good. So 4 mana 4/4 Lifesteal Battlecry. If you've imbued your hero power twice, so you can do it multiple times. Deal 4 damage to a minion. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is important, which is I'm going to start off with the Shaman one specifically to kind of introduce the whole topic to you. This is the Shaman imbue. You'll notice, actually you could read it and I'll explain how this works.
Sure. So 2 mana, Blessing of the Wind. Transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. So I'm assuming if you keep imbuing it, that number goes up.
Yes. Well done. Well done. Well done. We trained you so well for this moment. So
I don't know what else they would do differently, but okay.
Fair. Well, you'll see what they end up doing. So yeah, like Shaman Shaman's had a lot of evolved stuff over time, so they kind of did the exact same thing. Just mechanically gonna remind you, hero powering you can only do once per turn unless you have another card that enables you, which I don't think for this video is gonna be really that relevant. I may show you one so you can see it in case you're curious, but for the majority of these, it's not really that relevant. On top of that, I am so sorry for the text here. I'm gonna have to replace the card in the future. Just that card is 2 mana. It's just like it is so difficult to get these images off the website.
I hope you use this image in the video. This is great.
Blizzard, this is what you make me do.
Aspects Embrace. Your Photoshop skills are really coming in. You could have made the 2 white. I'm just saying.
I didn't put this in. Okay, let me explain. The fucking format for this. What is the format? I'm gonna tell you what the format is. You ever dealt with a AVIF file before in your life?
You could have just screenshotted the card and put it in Photoshop. I'm just saying.
Can we let's take this energy and let's put it towards Blizzard. Okay, like I am not your enemy. We're together.
Sure, fine. Anyway, this is a 2 mana, evidently, Shaman spell. Restore 4 health, draw a card, and imbue your hero power. Okay.
So that's the first card for Shaman. No, they have.
Okay. Are you going to show me all of the
I will show you
class cards at once, and then I'm evaluating as a package?
Yes,
or
yes, I do think that's fair. I do think that's fair.
Got it. Okay. So next up is Living Garden. Very cool. 3 mana, 2/4 for a battle cry. Imbue your hero power. Seeing a lot of redundancy here. And reduce the cost of a minion in your hand by 1. Okay, seems pretty good. And then Glow Root Lure. This is 6 mana for a 6/6 card that looks like a ripoff of Black Lotus. Taunt. Costs 1 less for each time you used your hero power this game. Very cute.
Okay.
Very cute. Okay, is this it? Are there like 3 cards per class?
No. Shaman has more than the other ones. Shaman has more than the other ones.
Okay. I'm glad we're starting with it. Plucky Podling. 1 mana, 1/2. If this would transform into a minion, it transforms into one that costs 2 more. That's cool. Okay. I like the synergy. That's
so that is the cards. Here is virtually the big payoff for this, other than the hero powers.
Marithra?
That sounds right.
Marithra? Okay. 6 mana, 4/4, Battle Cry. Resurrect all different friendly minions that cost 8 or more. Ooh.
Okay, so as you can see, just a huge recap for everybody. The more you imbue, the more you scale up your minions, which means therefore Marithra will summon those minions when they inevitably die, and then you come back.
Yeah, because that's like a weird thing with your game, because if you transform the minion into something else that isn't like necessarily in your deck, in your like graveyard, it's still like that card exists in your game, correct?
Wait, say that again.
So like, okay, you're transforming like, okay, you transform something into something else, right? That card is still like effectively in your game. It's not like a token that leaves the game when it dies, right? Yeah. That's like a huge difference with your game compared to our game. Because like in our game, like you would have to like, the way this would work would have to be like, you would have to tutor it out of your deck or something like that, and then it would die, right?
Oh,
so it would be like, if you have it would be like, okay, if I have a level 4 monster, I can use my hero power to turn it into a level 5 monster. But I'd still have to play that level 5 monster like in my deck, right? Like I know there's like a random component to this because of the transforming thing.
Yes.
But we'd still have to have those cards physically in our deck. Where Hearthstone, because you're digital, you can get away with this sort of effect, which is cool. I mean, it's neat that like that works, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But like we have the privilege of being a virtual game, like you said. Like this would your life would be fucking miserable.
Exactly.
So I get you.
Right.
I get you.
Okay, so I guess it just depends on how... Okay, I guess here's a question, and you can feel free to answer it or not. Are there other, like, 8-cost minions that Shaman would want to play at this time that, like, you're playing in your deck that you're not transforming into?
Just for your time, I'm not going to
this art is sick.
It is very good. You could read it if you want. But just for your time, I'm not going to go through the nuance of this card.
Okay, sure. Malorn the Way Watcher. 8 mana, 8/6. Battlecry, discover a legendary wild god. If you've imbued your hero power 4 times, set its cost. That's okay. All right.
So, just to
you're gonna have to go into that later at some point.
Just to save you, like listen, this video would go on for 8 million years if I showed you every wild god so you could see what it is. So like that's why I didn't want to show you this.
Fair.
But
fair.
In an imbue deck, this card is like played. Like no matter what, because getting a wild god,
nuts.
Getting a wild god at 1 mana is obviously very, very good. So like but you wouldn't necessarily want to resurrect this from Marithra because it doesn't have a board presence. It just doesn't have the stat stick. So that's the 8-drop that you would run. But yeah, it doesn't really like work with this card. Is why I didn't show it to you.
Here's another technical question.
Okay.
Glow Root Lure. Let's say I reduce the cost of this down to 2. If I transform this, is it going based off of the new cost, or is it a 6 mana thing when it's in play? So then when you transform it, it goes up to like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever.
It is a 6 mana thing in play.
Well, and this is really cool because like your hero power is basically enabling you to always like trade favorably, and then you just transform it into something else. And yeah, it's random, but especially as you ramp it, the stats more often than not are always going to be like really good. So it's like you have that evolve thing on your hero power, which is kind of nuts.
Yes.
Right. Especially then too, like the more you're doing it, because like you can keep imbuing it. So that way, like, oh, you're transforming it into something that costs like 3 more or 4 more. So now like all of a sudden, like, okay, so I'm trying to think, it's like turn 2, maybe you play the Bitter Bloom Knight. So now you're imbued 1. So when you imbue it the first time, does it transform the hero power into this first one?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay, and then it starts scaling. So then turn 3, you could maybe play the Living Garden. So now it's imbued. So now everything's like +2. And then like turn 4, if you wanted to, you could play the Flutterwing Guardian. So now everything's +3. And then if you're trading favorably into stuff and then evolving your things into things that cost 3 more, if you're turning your 4 mana thing into a 7 mana thing, like that could be potentially pretty crazy. The Plucky Podling gets crazy because if you like hero power it for like 3, it's actually 5. So you're playing a 1 mana, 6 mana card, essentially. And granted, it's all random, but again, like we know through Evolve that that's fine more often than not, especially when you're like trading favorably into stuff. This seems really good. Like this seems really good to me, and I hope it's good because I think this would just be like fun to play with.
Okay.
So I'll say it's good. Yeah.
Okay. Now, normally, of course, I'll give you the answer. I'm going to show you the rest of them before you make a decision.
Oh, you're gonna. Okay. So do I have to like rate the order of like what's best to worst?
We'll do like we did with like the Colossals, where you like went through the order.
Okay. Sure.
Rather than do this. Okay. Next, I'm going to show you Priest. Okay. This is the Priest imbue.
Blessing of the Moon. 2 mana. Choose a priest minion or priest spell to add to your hand. It costs 1 less, but it's temporary. Lunar Wing Messenger. 2 mana 3/2 with lifesteal, and it just imbues your hero power. That's pretty good.
There's that.
Kaldori Priestess, 3 mana 3/3. Battlecry, give all enemy minions -2 attack until your next turn and imbue your hero power.
Okay, and this is the last card I'm going to show you for this.
See, you make fun of Yu-Gi-Oh for being redundant with things, yet here's your game, just giving everything imbue your hero power.
What do you mean redundant, bro? I would make fun of your game because you have Glaucosaur the Tyrant with 3 million books on his text box that explains every specific nuance of the card. Like, what do you mean?
I want to see Glaucosaur the Tyrant, and it just has 2 like Glocks for arms, and that's all the card. They would never do that because it gets censored into the sun. We do have Barrel Dragon though, which is basically the same thing. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. Tyrande, whatever. I was never getting that. 7 mana 5/7. Battlecry. The next 3 spells you play cast twice. Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Okay, so now you guys see like what I mean. Priest didn't get as many cards for specifically imbue.
Right.
So you're basing this off whether or not you could put this into like a tempo deck or a control deck. That's what the imbue is.
Of course. Well, I mean, Priest always typically seems to fall into that category anyway. Blessing of the Moon's interesting because it's like temporary card advantage, where it's like you get this card, but the 2 cards it shows you are random, correct?
Yeah. You don't know.
So I don't know if I like it as much because like there's a world where like you keep looking at cards and you're like whiffing, right? Like if it's I don't know if it's like the early. Okay, so I guess the question is when you're imbuing, the cost of the card is going down by 1 each time, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. My fear with this is that even with the cards costing less and you getting extra card off of this, because this is sort of like Warlock in a way, right? Where you're getting an extra card every turn, even though you only get it for that turn. The problem is you'd have to be deploying those cards every single turn in order for them to actually be efficient for you to use. And the problem is they're random cards. They're not even cards that you have control over, although they are priest cards. You can have like a pretty good idea. So even like if you were firing this every single turn, there's a world for the first few turns you can't even use any of the cards because you don't have the mana to play them. And then later on, if they have the cost reduction and they're 3 or 4 cheaper, that's good. But even if you still like the cards themselves could like not be good, right? There's a world where like you look at both options and you're like, oh, both of these suck, right? And then you kind of just like wasted your turn, or at least you wasted 2 mana in like order to do that. The legendary seems cool because like there's synergy there. Where if like maybe you get like a really OP spell and then like you can cast it multiple times, like that's really cool. The other minions, like, okay, sure, like they're just like decent cards that also can imbue. So like if you get it to the point where everything you pull off of Blessing of the Moon is free, which if you're playing control or like mid-rangey, maybe that's like your plan, like you're trying to get the game in that situation. But like from what you've told me with Hearthstone, like Hearthstone's just so much faster that like I don't know if you're gonna have the time to get to that point, and maybe you do. Okay. I like the Shaman stuff over the priest stuff for now, but
okay,
yeah,
completely fair. Okay, next up is Paladin.
Oh, great. My favorite.
Yeah. Hold on. I actually the image for their hero power.
Blessing of the Dragon. Cost 2, like all hero powers do, and shuffle 2 emerald portals into your deck. Your portals summon 1-cost dragons. It is a 1-cost thing that casts when drawn, and you summon a random 1-cost dragon. Okay.
So as you're scaling up your imbue, the higher cost dragons you'll start to summon.
Sure. It goes 2, 3, 4.
I will also say that if you have portals in your deck and then you imbue, those portals will increase with the imbue.
Ooh, so like, okay, so let's say I use it a couple times and then I draw the portal later, it'll be 3 cost immediately when it's played.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of cool. Okay.
I will also say the dragons are pretty fucking good. Like there are good dragons to get. Now, are they going to win you the game? No. Some of them are stat sticks for sure.
Okay. Aegis of Light, 1 mana for a spell. Summon a random 1-cost minion and give it taunt. Imbue your hero power. Okay. Gold Petal Drake, 3 mana for a 3/4. Good stats. Battlecry and Death Rattle imbue your hero power. Okay. Dragon Scale Armaments, 1 mana. Draw a spell that started in your deck and one that didn't. Okay, so you can actually like fetch the portal with this card, correct?
And there is one
more.
Yep.
That was going to be my question. And then Dream Warden, 4 mana, 3/4 taunt. Battlecry, if there's a card in your deck that didn't start there, draw it and gain plus. Okay, there's another thing that gets it out of the deck. Okay.
So I think for Paladin, that's basically all I really need to show you for you to get the full thing. I will show you, just in case you're curious, the 10 cost dragon that you will get. Because I feel like is
this like if it's 10 cost, you get this guaranteed because there's no other 10 cost? Or
there's 2 dragons. I'll show you both, just so you can see what your potential win condition will be if you're going all the way to the top.
Gotcha. Okay. So Briar Spawn Drake, 10 mana, 12/7. At the end of your turn, attack a random enemy minion. Excess damage hits the hero. And then Runaway Blackwing, 10 mana. It's funny. Blackwing's a Yu-Gi-Oh archetype. 10 mana, 10/10. At the end of your turn, deal 10 damage to a random enemy minion. Oh, just minion? That's lame.
I mean, what the fuck?
I mean, it's still good. It's still good that it hits the minions, but I mean, I hit phase 2.
I could be wrong. I will say this, and I'm Alex, who designed this set, I talk to pretty regularly, so I'm going to be curious to see what he says. I'm pretty sure they nerfed Runaway Blackwing because it used to be a 9 mana 9/9 with the same effect to deal 9 damage to 10 mana, because if Briar Spawn was the only dragon you're getting, that would be fucking disgusting. So they had to put some kind of variance there to make sure like that wouldn't be consistent. I'm guessing.
This is weird because you're like a bit all in on this. You're trying to like, what I like about the Shaman one is that it's very versatile. Like you are able to do a lot of things with it. Where like this one, you're kind of all in on this strategy of you're trying to get your emerald portals to be as big as possible, and that when you do draw them, they're going to give you like a big payoff. And everything else in the deck like sort of supports that because the minions are like fairly well statted. But then also because you have Dream Warden and Dragon Scale Armaments, you have 4 cards that at any moment, if you decide you want to get the emerald portal, you can. So you don't have to like wait for it, which is nice. That was like a big thing I was looking for with this. So you have some agency over when you get the big dragon, but this is like the problem. I always evaluate Paladin and I'm always wrong. So the fact that I think it's like kind of mid probably means it's like the best deck right now and everyone hates it.
Okay.
So you'd have to activate, if you wanted to get to the top end, you have to imbue it so many times. I don't like how you're just like all in on hoping that these dragons are going to like win you the game. And obviously your deck's doing other stuff too. Like I get that, but
okay. So you're not as up. So in terms of Shaman's number 1 for you, do you think this is better than Priest?
I just like how versatile Shaman is with its ability. I feel like this one is so narrow. I actually think, God, where do I put this versus Priest right now? I just like the Priest one because you're getting a extra card every turn, like similar to Warlock, even if it's temporary. But like even that can like have its major downsides, like you whiff. Where Blessings of the Dragon, you're focusing on going in on one thing, but it's always happening. There's the world where you could draw the Emerald Portal and you hate yourself and just like Alt F4 out of the game because like you needed to like not draw it. Are there other ways to get emerald portals, or do you only get 2 emerald portals?
Currently, no.
Oh, I guess every time you're hero powering, you're putting these into your deck. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Holy shit, I'm stupid.
You're good.
I'm just like, I'm thinking every time you're hero powering, you're just like, you were like changing the cost. I forgot that's the imbuing part of it. So when you're activating it, so you're getting a okay, this changes my whole perception of this. Holy shit. So now you have like a million of these in your deck. Okay, this is a lot better. This is a lot better than I was thinking.
You can look at it as like basically you're spending 2 mana to shuffle a portal every single turn. That's what inevitably is gonna end up happening.
I was completely wrong.
You're good.
My evaluation of this. Okay, I think this is better than the Priest one. I think this is like, I can see this being like a win con now because you're just like constantly getting more and more of these things, and eventually you just like overwhelm your opponent because like tempo wise you're just like so far ahead. So okay, I'm gonna go with that. I think this is pretty decent.
And you still think Shaman's better?
I want to say yes, just because I like how versatile the Shaman one is. Okay, but I'll think about it as we keep going through. How many more classes we got? 2 more?
We have 3 more.
Oh, 3 more. Okay.
The last one, I'm only showing you 1 card because that's all you're gonna need to see.
Oh, okay.
And we'll get there. You'll see what it is. Okay, next is Mage.
Oh, okay. Blessing of the Wisp. Summon 1 Wisp, deal 1 damage, randomly split among random enemies. So does this go to like summon 2 Wisps, deal 2 damage, or is it always summoning 1, but just the damage is going up?
No, both of them increase. Both numbers will increase. For the sake of Wisp, it's just a 0 mana 1/1 with no tax. That's all it is.
Okay. It's a mystical shine ball. Got it.
Just exactly. Just throw back to your video.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to save you time for reading. That's all I'm gonna do.
Okay. Spirit Gatherer, get a Wisp on Battlecry for a 2-mana 2/1, and then imbue. Okay.
Okay, and then you have this.
What are the Wisps doing? Wisp Rider, maybe we're about to find out. Battlecry, imbue your hero power, then trigger it. That's cool. I haven't seen that yet. 5 mana 4/4. Okay.
Okay, and then you have this.
Divination, 2 mana spell, destroy a friendly Wisp to draw 3 cards. That's sick. Okay. But you have a bunch of other card draw in your game, so I don't know how good that is.
I would say that's actually pretty good. And then this is your payoff.
Escena, 8 mana 6/8. Looks like the Wisp in a mech suit. Battlecry, if 20 friendly minions have died this game, deal 20 damage split among all enemies. What the fuck?
For the record, by the way, Malorn can discover this card. So you could get a second copy at 1 mana.
Malorn is the elk thing, right?
Yeah. Just for the record. So that's a payoff. Okay. Thoughts on Mage?
This is really interesting. Like, this doesn't feel mage to me. Like, this feels almost more warlocky because you're like having your minions die to get like some big payoff.
Okay.
So that's just interesting side note there. The concept here is that as you're upgrading the wisps, they're just gonna die because they're useless. And then you get to the point where you just bring this thing out and then you can just deal 20 damage split among everything. So is that just random? How does the 20 damage deal?
It is, well, it just looks at the board. It does 1 damage proc and then it'll keep going over and over again. I don't know if you remember Arcane Missiles from like way back in Classic, but it's the same kind of concept. Like it just fires.
Is that, but it's for 20 instead of 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It can go face too. It can go face.
I will say the Wisps, though they are like 0 mana 1/1s, if you're doing that every single turn, like it is a constant threat that your opponent has to pay attention to.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Because eventually you get to the point you're summoning like 4 or 5, right? And then it's like, okay, you're getting like all these little guys and you can crash them into your opponent's things to like kill them off. And the next turn you just summon more, right? So, yes. I get it.
Do you think
good?
Yeah. Do you think it's better than the other ones I've shown you?
This is tough. Like, it doesn't, let me think. Okay, you imbue once, then you get a wisp. How many times do you hypothetically have to? 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 20. So you'd have to, not counting other minions, you'd have to hero power 6 times after, well, you have to keep imbuing it too on top of that. Ugh. You're also dealing some damage while you do it. So it's not like you're just getting the wisps out. So like you're kind of able to like also like flip tempo back around in your favor potentially. I don't hate it.
Okay.
I don't hate it.
Let me show you one card.
Okay.
I'm not trying to sway you. I alluded to it earlier.
Of course you are.
No. I think for Mage, this is maybe the one deck this is very important. I'll just show you here. Here you go. You could look back at the other two if you think that it's worth looking at it, but I will say it's probably not worth it.
You always make fun of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. What the fuck is this? Sing along, buddy.
Hey, I'm not defending like the whatever. You don't continue. Whatever.
Yeah, your hero power triggers twice. Okay, that's cool. This one's tough. I think this is like the trickiest out of all of them that you've shown me. It's kind of in the middle. I don't know where it falls yet, but I think it's in the middle. Okay. I think I need to see the last 2 to fully evaluate.
No problem. Okay, next is Hunter.
Blessings of the Wolf, 2 mana. Give a random beast in your hand +1 attack. It costs 1 less. So the attack's always going up and the cost is always going down.
Exactly.
I see what you mean. Exotic Houndmaster. Battlecry, draw a beast. Imbue your hero power. 2 mana 2/2. It is itself not a beast. And drawing a beast means it comes from your deck, correct?
Yep.
Umbra Claw. 4 mana 5/2 with Rush. That is not charged, so minions only. Death Rattle, imbue your hero power. And it is a beast, so you could theoretically draw this off of like Exotic Houndmaster.
Yep.
Okay. Verdant Dream Saber. This art's sick. 5 mana 4/7. There's actually a Yu-Gi-Oh. Wait, hold on. Let me show you this really quick. You're gonna be like, there's no way.
Is it the same name?
Not the same name, but the art is eerily similar.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for this?
Holy shit, it actually does.
Am I right? Isn't that crazy?
Tiger. Yeah. I guess it kind of makes sense because again, this is some kind of like dream world, so it makes sense why it would be the Soul Tiger. Oh my
God. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Random tangent. That's what it reminded me of, though. 5 mana 4/7 Battlecry. If this costs 3 or less, attack 2 random enemy minions. It costs 3 or less, and you could use the hero power to keep reducing the cost potentially of it.
Yep.
So you'd have to reduce it by 3 or less. So you'd have to reduce it twice. Okay. All right. Mythical Rune Bear. 4 mana 3/4 taunt. Battlecry, if this has 4 more attacks, summon a copy of this. So you just have to do it once, and then you have 2 4/4s with taunt for 4.
Okay.
And it's a beast. So you can
this is not from this set, but I feel like I would be misleading you if I didn't show it.
King. What the fuck is this? It's so cute. King Plush, 9 mana, 6/6 with charge. Battlecry, return all minions with less attack than this to their owner's decks. That's like a Yu-Gi-Oh effect. Oh my god.
So you can see the synergy with that. That's why I feel like I have
you
to.
pump it up with the thing, and then you just get to wipe the whole board basically.
I will also say Malorn is also a
charge.
beast. So you can reduce Malorn's.
That was the elk, right?
Yeah. So like if you do imbue 4 times, you will get a wild god at 1, and you're reducing the cost of Malorn. So like that is something you could consider.
This is pretty cool. Like usually I'm not like very pro hunter. I feel like I'm kind of like neutral on it, but like these are really neat. You have like, it is a random beast, but you can like sort of control that like to an extent. Like if you have a beast in your hand that you're like really trying to like reduce down, just like don't play Exotic Houndmaster. And you could also just play the other cards out of your hand and keep reducing the cost down with the one you want to. Like if you're trying to reduce down King Plush, right? Like that's very funny. Using it once for Mythical Rune Bear is like, seems really good. If you get Dream Saber down, like that seems like huge for like a tempo swing, because then this thing's probably going to be able to take out both things, no problem. Does Hearthstone have a lot of stuff that returns stuff to the deck like that? Or is that pretty unique to King Plush?
Individual cards, yes. Priest has a couple cards that will do the exact same thing. Shaman got a new spell this set that did it. Like it's very rare. Like it's not like a very common thing.
Right. Okay. Because Yu-Gi-Oh is similar. Like there are a few effects that shuffle things back. I think I showed you one actually that shuffles stuff back into the deck. But like that type of effect is not super common, and it's usually very good. So
I would say
I was curious if it was like more common in your game.
Hearthstone has, I would say, other than King Plush, there is an AoE clear for Priest, which is called Psychic Scream, which returns all minions to your opponent's deck, regardless if it's on your side, and that card is probably one of the best cards in the game.
I wish Yu-Gi-Oh had that card. I think that would be very cool if that existed. Because like we have AoE board wipes that cost 0 that are only for your opponent. And that they're at 3 copies, they're unlimited, and they don't see play all that often, which is like insane to think.
Well,
right?
The thing with Psychic Scream is because tokens in Hearthstone, I don't think it works the exact same thing for you. I could be wrong. But like if you shuffle a token into someone's deck, it will be in their deck and you could draw it.
Oh, sure.
So,
no, but like even for Yu-Gi-Oh, that would be good because like, yeah, like tokens and stuff like aren't super relevant in Yu-Gi-Oh compared to your game. They can be, but it's very rare. But just having the reason why like it's Raigeki, it's one of the first board wipes ever. It literally just says destroy your opponent's monsters. It costs 0. But the reason that card doesn't see play is because so many, or very like seldomly, like it will every now and then, but even then it's probably like for the side deck, not even the main deck. The thing is, in Yu-Gi-Oh, things either are like immune to destruction, or if they die, they have some sort of effect. So it's not even like good to wipe their board more often than not. Whereas with Psychic Scream, if it shuffles them into the deck, it dodges destruction protection and it prevents them from triggering in the graveyard. So we have cards that can do that, but having just a straight up board wipe that for 0 says shuffle all minions on the field into the deck, I think like that would actually see a lot of play, and that'd be a really cool board wipe for Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, it could be very oppressive, but
it's one of the few cards at Hearthstone that I will tell you was played in like every Priest deck. So
was it really? Okay.
It was very good.
I mean, I get it. It sounds very good.
I think
anyway. In
current Hearthstone, that card would be like an auto include in like every Priest deck. Like it was that good. Sure. It was such a good deck, or such a good card. Sorry, sidetrack Hunter.
Sorry, sidetrack. I thought it was an interesting conversation.
No, you're good.
I think these cards are cool.
Better than Mage.
I think Mage is better. Every time you're doing Blessing of the Wisp, you're also just like damaging stuff too. Like you don't need like other stuff to do it. I feel like the limiting factor with Blessing of the Wolf is like that you need the beasts, and like if you don't have a beast, this doesn't like do anything. Granted, that doesn't seem to be too big of a problem.
Yeah, you're having a beast probably almost every single time. Like you're gonna have a beast.
Right, exactly. You still have to play the thing. Like the mage thing, you're getting free damage every single time you fire this hero power.
Yes.
Like you for free just get to damage some shit, and you get things that not only can then also finish other things off, they're working towards like some greater purpose. Where like this, it just feels more conditional. So I'm not as like, it's cool. I don't know if I'm fully sold on it though. Let's see the last group.
Just for the record, do you still think Shaman's the best one?
I do actually. I really like how flexible the Shaman one is. I'll be honest.
Okay. The last one is Druid. Here's the hero power.
Oh God. All right. New one at the top. Blessings of the Golem. Summon a 1/1 plant golem. So I'm assuming it just goes 2/2, 3/3, 4/4. And I like how he just has like, he's like a little mini guy, like just flexing. That's cute.
I genuinely believe this is the only card I need to show you for this. If you want more context, I will gladly show you more cards.
Is it that broken that you can only need to show
I
me
just feel like this really, I think this just tells you like what it is.
Hamul Rune Totem. 5 mana, 5/6. Start of game. If each spell in your deck is nature, imbue your hero power. Repeat this every 2 spells you cast. does he need to be out for you to repeat it?
No.
Or does it...
The game starts, your hero power is changed as long as you have every spell in your deck is nature. Now, before you're like, oh my God, this is so broken, I'm just gonna say a couple things here. Druid has no ramp they can play in this deck. None. There's no ramp
because they're not
you can
nature
play.
Spells?
Wild Growth rotated. There's no Nourish, and the only ramp spell in the game is not nature. It has to be nature.
Okay.
So just remember that when you're thinking about how good this is going to be. I know you're a huge fan of Druid. A reminder, like there's no ramp.
So you're either showing me this because it's the most broken of the bunch, and this is all you have to show me, or it's the worst of the bunch, and like even you showing me this, like it's just like not even worth your time.
Do you want to see some spells? I could gladly show you some spells.
Sure.
I just
don't want some context here, buddy.
I just don't want to like sit you like here's all the nature spells that you got to consider. Okay, let me pick ones that are very important to Druid. Hold on.
Sure.
I just felt like it might have been too much. That's why I didn't want to show you everything.
Photosynthesis, 3 mana, restore 6 health, get 3 random Druid spells. That's funny. Trail Mix. What the fuck? 2 mana, gain 2 mana crystals next turn only. And then Dreambound Disciple, Battlecry, and Death Rattle. Your next hero power costs 0.
Do you want more spells? Are you satisfied?
No,
with
this
those?
this is fine. You don't have to keep working.
Okay, it's not that much trouble for me. I'm more worried about you. I just want to put you.
Well, compared to me, I have way less to read when we do your videos compared to you,
That's
where
fair.
you have to read a novel every time we look at a singular card.
See, Jillian.
Hey, don't spoil it.
Sorry, great. David, cut that out. No spoiling.
So I'm trying to think. Like, there's a world where you could just play like Spell Druid, and like all your minions are just like the guys you're playing off of the hero power, and it just like constantly gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Have I shown you J Golems yet?
I think I like that when you said that, like it triggered like a core memory of like playing back in the day, because like that sounds familiar. Isn't that like that's kind of what this did? Like every time you played something, it just kept like getting bigger. I vaguely remember that.
Every J Golem you summons with 1/1 extra stats, and then there's a whole day 9 rant about how we thought it was like the worst mechanic of all time, and he hoped that like they wouldn't eat with their non-dominant hand. Shit, there's a whole clip for it. That's a classic. Anyways, yeah, it is basically a iteration of the Jade Golems, except for now, rather than casting cards, it's on your hero power. One of the problems with Jade Golems was like there was a spell that basically allowed you to go infinite because you could shuffle more copies into your deck, and the way that Druid interacts, it's just horrible. So like they didn't want to do that again.
So people were thinking this is like PTSD when they saw this. They're like, oh God, here we go.
Exactly. Yeah. Now remember, Jade Golems came out in 2016, and they were very good in 2017. This is 2025 Hearthstone. Sure. So remember that when you're evaluating this.
To be fair, this is similar to the Mage one. Just the difference is instead of you don't get any damage, but you're getting the same amount of stats every time but it's one body instead of multiple. It can go bigger because you're limited with Mage by how many board spaces you have. Where with this, since it's one thing, you don't have to really worry about that, and you can go past 7 because 7's the board space count, right?
7 is the board space count. Hold on, I'm gonna show you one more card actually because this is a nature spell as well. You can add that to your list as well. I try to pronounce this. Go for it.
What the fuck? Shaladrassil?
You might be correct. I just call it Saladrassil.
7 mana, gain all or get all 5 dream cards. If you've played a higher cost card while holding this, corrupt them. What the fuck does any of that mean?
Give me a quick second. Hold on. I gotta get you the image. Okay. Hold on. There's just a lot to look through here.
This is like when I show you a Yu-Gi-Oh card and you have no idea what any of it means. This is the equivalent because this literally means nothing to me.
Okay, ignore.
Except the art's really cool. It's got that.
Ignore is this big enough? Okay, ignore Ysera on the left because you don't get that card.
Okay, so you get Dream, which is 0, return a minion to its owner's hand. An Emerald Drake, which is a 4 mana 7/6. A 3 mana 3/3 Laughing Sister that can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. 0 mana Nightmare, give a minion +5/+5 at the start of your turn, destroy it, and then Ysera Awakens, 2 mana, deal 5 damage to all characters except Ysera.
Okay, so that's the non-corrupted version. This is the corrupted version.
Oh my God, more reading. Okay.
You asked for more context.
I did. Corrupted Awakening, deal 5 damage to all enemies, especially, that's very funny. Corrupted Nightmare, give a minion +5/+5 and immune this turn. Okay. Corrupted Dream, shuffle a minion to its owner's deck. That's very funny. We just talked about that. Corrupted Laughing Sister, 2 mana 6/10. Elusive, and your hero is elusive. And then 4 mana Corrupted Drake for 14/12. Okay.
So that is every piece I think you need, because I want to show you salad dressing because it is a nature spell, and it people, if they make the deck, they will run it.
If you played a higher cost card while holding this, corrupt them. That's it. And that's not like in the same turn, right?
No. If you play an 8 cost card, you corrupt it. Also,
you corrupt it. Okay.
I will mention as well, again, I'm kind of a little bit more all over the place with this guy, but that sing-along buddy that you saw earlier, I'll just copy pasta him where he doubles it.
To be able to double stuff
This
up.
is kind of relevant for this too, because like you want the bigger stats as soon as possible.
Well, I want to say it's broken because it's Druid, just straight up.
Okay, that's fair. That is completely fair.
No ramp obviously is a big deal since they got rid of that. But it's cool that there's this like build around deck building mechanic sort of thing. I really like with the Mage, you just do the damage randomly too, though. Because that's like more immediate. Because with your golem thingy, what is it? Your plant golem. Yeah, like you get the guy, but you need a wait a turn to really like do a lot with it. Where like with the Mage one, you immediately start having an impact on the board and can like start taking stuff out. And then combo that with like other stuff too. Okay, so I have to rate these now.
So, okay. I would say, what do you think is the worst one? We'll go from there.
What is the worst one?
What do you think is the worst imbue? There is actually like objectively correct answers for this, just for the record.
Okay, there's an objectively correct, no pressure. No pressure.
Based on the tier, like the since this patch, looking at the meta report for legend, that's what I'm looking at for people who are curious. There's the worst one. They're like it's not even close, to be honest. Like in terms of
I really want to say it's the priest one, only because like you've told me how fast Hearthstone has gotten, and I feel like for the priest one to be good, you need to get into like the mid to late game, and if you don't, then it like doesn't do anything. And even then, you're still like hitting stuff randomly that might not even be good for you. So even if it's free or like super reduced, if the cards are both bad, then that doesn't like matter, I feel like. So I don't know, like the priest one seems the least impressive to me, to be honest.
Okay, I'll put priest at the bottom for you. You got druid, paladin, shaman, mage. So
I'm working my way up now. I still really like shaman. Paladin's way better than I realized now that I know how the card actually fucking works. Where do I put hunter in all this? Man, that one's tough. Because like at this point I like shaman at the top, mage and druid are like equal in between, and then priest is at the bottom. And so I'm trying to figure out like where hunter falls in this.
Okay, I'm really intrigued to see what you think. If you truly think shaman is the best one.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I like how flexible it is. I think there's like a lot of cool stuff you can do with it.
That's fair. It also has I'm not swaying you at all, but it also has the advantage of like a lot of minions are played for battle cries. So the fact that you can just like swap it immediately to potentially something better is like.
Yeah, exactly. So I think right now, I think I'm like shaman, paladin, mage, druid, priest, and I don't know where hunter goes.
Okay.
I think it's just so hard because like creature combat in your game is like so important comparatively to our game. God, it's like, it's so hard to evaluate that. Like if it was older Yu-Gi-Oh, I feel like it'd be so much easier, but it's not. Fuck it. I'll put hunter between, I'm going to put it between druid and priest. So I'm going to put it second from the bottom.
Okay.
So I'm going shaman, paladin, mage, druid, hunter, priest, I think.
Let's start off with worst to best here from what you have.
Oh God,
and
here we go.
Okay, you were right. Priest is the worst one by far.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
And your reasoning, as long as I understood correctly, is that it's too random, right? You don't know what you're gonna get. It may just be useless, whatever. Yeah. Priest's biggest problem currently is that it doesn't have a win condition to be controlled. So you're kind of just generating cards for the purpose of delaying a game to hopefully stopping your opponent from winning, which in Hearthstone currently does not really work. I'm sure it's the same thing in Yu-Gi-Oh. You have to win the game at some point. Will imbue priest get better? Possibly. I showed you Tyrande because that effect is very good.
That effect seems really good. Yeah, that was like the most impressive card of that bunch. Yeah.
So yeah, if they end up getting some good card, there is a possibility that Control Priestess goes up if they get a win con. Currently, it is the worst one. You put Hunter as the second worst one. It was incorrect. The second worst one is Shaman.
No! Now, all right, we're fine.
Priest win rate currently is 35%, which is... really, like, that is the worst deck, like, that is collecting data right now. Shaman's is 40, so it's got 5% more. Shaman's biggest problem is that evolving actually isn't very good. You are playing, you put cards in your deck specifically because they are good. There is too much variance for evolving for it to be playable. And by the time you're constantly getting like 8 cost imbues, because that's generally what you want, the game is already over. Like you're not winning the game at that point.
So it's just too long. I was just thinking you're always trading up with like evolving into getting just bigger and bigger stuff because it's like healing in a way, right? So in my mind, I'm like, oh, that seems really good because you can just keep doing that. But there must just still be too much variance. So I
also think that maybe you're valuing like trading minions too much. Hearthstone as a game currently, like especially over the last couple of years, it's just been really good about just killing you in one turn with like your hand or whatever you're building towards. So like,
so it's very Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay.
That's a great, getting the incremental value on board is just not great. That's the other problem with Shaman. So Shaman ends up being the second worst imbue at 40%. You had Druid next, which is incorrect. Paladin is the next one. Paladin suffers the same problem as Shaman, where it's like by the time you get to 10 cost imbues, the game's probably already over. And which is unfortunate because the Paladin deck is actually really enjoyable to play. And
it seems fun. It seems fun. Yeah.
I think if there is like one more balance patch and they kind of really hit the more important cards they need to hit, so Paladin actually is a good matchup across the board, like Paladin will end up being great because it doesn't need to be the best deck. It just needs to be playable for that, like that match, or for that deck to be in the meta. Because again, if you do get to 10 cost, Paladin has enough survivability, you'll be more than fine. And then all of a sudden you're gonna lie dragons. Okay, next up from, you picked Mage as the top three in the top 3. Next up is Imbue Hunter. Hunter, I mean this genuinely, is coming down to the fact that you get King Flush in hand and you're buffing the shit out of it. That is your win card. Like that is your whole deck. And
how is that good? That seems so situational.
Oh, I didn't call it good. It's at 46% win rate. Okay, just for the record.
Okay, all right.
Paladin's at 41.5. That's where those at. So there's a 5% jump here. That win condition can be very good because some decks will just not kill you in time by the time your King Plush will kill your opponent. Imbue Mage is top 2.
It was Druid. Druid was the top. I thought you were baiting me.
So we'll get to Druid in a second. Hold on. Mage actually has a really cool deck, right? Like the fact is you're building up incremental power while also dealing damage. So it kind of fits both problems that a lot of decks have. And it's very easy to draw through because you have the 2 mana to draw 3 cards. It has a really good late game win condition with Athena. Like you kind of have everything you need. The problem is, once again, by the time you actually start doing a lot with Mage, the game's like probably already over. And you need to, it seems the biggest problem with Imbue is that you need to start getting your Imbue up a lot in order for it to be quite good. Which is a bit unfortunate because that means the game is either A, too fast, or this mechanic is a little too slow.
I was about to say, it's almost at odds with the fact that the game is so fast. Because I feel like if it's older Hearthstone where the games like would tend to go longer, then like obviously you see more benefit out of these types of things. And maybe that's like the mindset that I'm coming from, to be fair.
And I think most people, like when we saw this mechanic, I think a lot of people were in the same like mindset. Like we had like what Hearthstone's been doing recently is they have like a tavern brawl preemptively beforehand. And this one specifically was great because it rotated virtually every old set that's currently in standard. So it was like the core set, one other set, and then the new set, and you got to see these imbue cards really shine. So people were like, oh, super hyped. Like I thought Paladin was going to be really good based on how good it was in the tavern brawl.
Sure.
But yeah, unfortunately that's not the case, which leads us to Druid. Druid right now after the buffs is at 53%, which is pretty impressive considering.
That's pretty good.
Before the buffs, like all of these decks were like virtually unplayable. Like they were not competing against StarCraft. I think what makes Druid good is the fact that you do start with it on board, but there's a surprising amount of ways to make your Jade Golems big enough in the early game that your opponent now has to like respect it. And because you do have Sing-Along Buddy, you could summon multiple of them, and you have the hero power to cost 0 from the minion, which is actually really great. The fact that you have to spend 2 mana to do it every single time is one of the biggest issues with this entire mechanic, and it is the same problem as Inspire. So like that's why I brought it up at the start of this game. So unfortunately, Druid was the best one, and I'm shocked as well. I didn't want to like mislead you at all because
I thought you were baiting me. I thought you were baiting me the whole time. You're like, oh, he's gonna see this one card, think it's broken, and then it's actually bad. So I thought you were baiting me. I took the bait.
Well, it's interesting because I think the fact that you don't have to spend another card to just imbue this is actually a really big deal. And then
yeah, exactly.
you can cater
You don't have
your,
to play like the bad imbue cards to like imbue it, right? It just does it for you.
it just does it for you. And I think they actually still play like some of the neutral ones.
Yeah, I can see you still playing them, but like you don't have to, right? Where the other decks you might feel obligated because you have no other way to imbue. Where this it's just like, oh, you just get to do it.
Yeah. It's just incredibly it's just so funny thinking that Druid, of course, gets the best imbue package. Now,
of course, because it's broken. I should have gone with my gut. I should have gone with my gut.
Okay, we'll see. Again, there will be probably another patch. I feel like, I don't know if that's how likely they're going to do it now, but I don't know if they want the current decks to be the best decks in the game. Maybe they'll nerf Kill Jaden to help out like a lot of these slower, like resource dependent decks, but we'll have to wait and see. Is the imbue package like very weak? Absolutely. So there is the huge, like it's really unfortunate to just see that like Priest is at 35% win rate with this archetype. Like that's insane.
It just feels like older Hearthstone wise, like again, like the games go on longer, that's the better imbue gets, right? So it's like it's unfortunately it just seems like it's conflicting with what the game has become, which is unfortunate because it seems like a cool mechanic inherently.
Yeah. I wonder if they make it like make your hero power cost 1, it might solve a lot of problems, but I don't know if they want to do that.
Maybe that might be too good.
The problem
but it
with
would speed things up.
I think that's fine. That like I don't know. I'm in the agreement because luckily for us we have rotation. Like I think if they just rotated the 3 oldest sets right now and then they started fresh with a lower power level, I think it would be lovely. But they're not going to do that.